Okay, let's be honest. Trying to figure out financial and insurance advice can feel like you're walking through a minefield, right? You absolutely know you need a solid plan, but the big question is, who can you actually trust to help you build it? Well, in this explainer, we're going to give you the tools to cut right through all that confusion and find an advisor who really truly has your back.
This is the question, isn't it? I mean, the anxiety is totally real. You're making these huge decisions that are going to affect your family's future for years, maybe even decades to come. The stakes just couldn't be any higher. So, this explainer is designed to cut through all that noise and give you a clear, actionable game plan to protect yourself and your money.
All right, first things first, we have to understand who we're even talking to. You know, the titles they use, agent, broker, advisor, they often sound the same, but the roles they play, and more importantly, who they legally work for, well, that can be worlds apart. So let's pull back the curtain and break down the key players you're probably going to meet.
So you've got your insurance agent. Now, whether they're captive, meaning they work for just one company, or independent and represent a few, the key thing to know is that they're appointed by the insurance carrier. Think of it this way. Their main legal and financial relationship is with the company whose products they're selling. And it's so important to get that, because that relationship can directly, and I mean directly, influence the recommendations they give you.
Now, an insurance broker, they're set up differently. Their role is typically to represent you, the client. See, they aren't tied to one specific company, so their job is to go out and shop the entire market, comparing dozens of options to find the absolute best fit for your needs. This alignment with your interests, not a single company's, is a huge structural advantage for you.
Okay, so when we start talking about investments, you're going to run into FINRA-registered brokers. These folks are regulated by an organization called FINRA. That's the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. They work for a firm called a broker-dealer, which is basically a company that helps people buy and sell securities. Now, they're often paid by commission, and the standard of care they have to provide is absolutely critical, and we're going to get to that in just a second.
And that brings us to what a lot of people consider the gold standard for advice: a registered investment advisor, or RIA, and the certified financial planner professional. The key word here is fiduciary. These individuals are legally bound by a fiduciary duty. And that's not just some fancy jargon. It's a powerful legal term that means they must act in your best interest. They're also typically paid with fees, not commissions, which really helps align their success with yours.
So this right here, this slide is maybe the most important thing you need to understand. You have two standards of care. Suitability just means a product is appropriate for you. But get this, it doesn't have to be the best or the cheapest one out there. A product could be suitable and pay the advisor a huge commission even when a cheaper, better option exists. But the fiduciary standard, that is the highest legal standard of care. It legally requires the advice to be in your absolute best interest, period. Understanding this difference is your single most powerful piece of armor.
Okay, now that we know the players and the rules of the game, let's talk defense. How do you spot the tactics that are designed to pressure you into a bad deal? I want you to think of these red flags as your personal early warning system, the little voice that tells you, hey, slow down, something's not right here.
So, have you ever heard a line like this? This is a special deal just for you and it's gone tomorrow. This is textbook high-pressure sales. Its only purpose is to create a fake sense of urgency. It's designed to trigger that fear of missing out so you don't have time to do your homework, compare options, or, heaven forbid, get a second opinion. A genuinely good deal for your future doesn't come with an exploding deadline.
You know, what's so fascinating here is how these red flags almost always show up together, like a pattern. You've got intense pressure mixed with super vague answers about fees, plus a refusal to give you anything in writing you can look at later. Come on, that's not a sales pitch, that's a trap. And promises of guaranteed high returns that sound way too good to be true, yeah, they almost always are.
All right, let's go a level deeper, because it's not just about the words they're saying, it's about how they're trying to manipulate your emotions. Predatory salespeople are absolute masters of psychology. They use very specific triggers to just bypass your rational brain and get you to say yes before you've even had a chance to really think it through.
And this slide basically lays out their entire playbook. They create scarcity, that limited time offer. They lean on authority, using these impressive sounding but maybe unverified titles to make you feel like you can't question them. They use fear-mongering, painting this terrifying picture of what might happen if you don't buy their product. And they might even leverage affinity, using a connection from your community or church to get you to lower your guard. Once you recognize these tactics, you can disarm them instantly.
Okay, enough about the problems. Let's get to the solution. This section is your practical, step-by-step guide to checking out any financial professional you ever meet. I want you to think of this as your personal shield and compass for navigating this industry safely.
This 4-step process, it's totally non-negotiable. Step 1, verify their license. Don't just take their word for it, go online and check it yourself with the official regulators. Step 2, demand to see exactly how they get paid and get it in writing. If they can't or won't show you, you walk away. End of story. Step 3, read their public disciplinary history. And finally, Step 4, if they only show you one perfect solution, you insist on seeing at least 2 others with a full breakdown of the pros and cons for each.
Now, let's arm you with some killer questions. Asking who do you represent forces them to declare their loyalty right up front. Is it to you or to the company they work for? Demanding to see the worst-case scenarios cuts right through the sales fluff and brings the whole conversation back down to earth. But my absolute favorite is the last one. May I have 72 hours to review this? A true professional will always say, of course. A high-pressure salesperson will squirm, and their answer tells you everything you need to know.
Here's a really simple but incredibly powerful rule of thumb. A salesperson leads with the dream, right? An ethical advisor, on the other hand, leads with reality. They will explain the costs, the risks, and all the potential downsides of a strategy before they even get to the good stuff. That one behavior signals true transparency and respect for you. It's one of the clearest signs you're talking to a real professional, not just a salesperson.
So, let's put this all together into a concrete action plan. You now have the knowledge to decode the industry, to spot the traps, and to ask all the right questions. So here's how you can proactively use it to take control of your financial decisions starting today.
This chart gives you a really simple way to think about it. If you need comprehensive financial planning, the whole shebang that includes taxes, retirement, estate planning, you should probably look for a fiduciary like an RIA or a CFP professional. But if your main goal is just to shop for the best insurance policy, an independent broker is your best bet to see what the whole market has to offer. It's all about using the right tool for the right job.
Let's just hammer this home one last time because it is that important. The behaviors are just so different. An ethical professional gives you options, they're open about the fees, and they encourage you to take your time. A sales-driven agent pushes one product, hides the costs, and pressures you to sign right now. In the end, you have to trust the behaviors you see, not the promises you hear.
And here it is, your personal verification toolkit. These are the official sources you absolutely need. Seriously, I recommend you bookmark these sites on your computer right now. Before you ever sign a single document or write a check, make it a non-negotiable rule to use these websites to verify the person sitting across from you. This is your final critical safety check.
So, we've covered a lot of ground. But knowledge is only powerful when you actually use it. So I want you to think about your own situation. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is the very first step you're going to take, maybe even today, to better protect your financial future?
If you remember nothing else from this entire explainer, I want you to remember these 3 words. Verify every single claim and license. Question every recommendation and every assumption, and document every conversation and every agreement. This 3-word mantra is your ultimate consumer protection strategy. That's all for this explainer. Stay safe out there, stay informed, and please never be afraid to demand the transparency you and your family deserve.